Hello, fellow citizens! I am your host, Jess, and this is your reminder that the weight of the entire world is not on your shoulders, and you can make a difference. This podcast is about what it means to be a citizen and neighbor where you live. For me, that's Philadelphia. There are lots of ways to be a citizen and a neighbor, and I want to cover all of them in this podcast, starting with the belief that citizens should be informed. Because of our current nationwide agenda, I'm kicking off the podcast by examining the candidates and roles on the 2020 general election ballot. Hello, fellow citizens. Today I'm joined by somebody from New Jersey who is currently living in California. So we're going to talk about California and New Jersey, which is pretty exciting. Kyle's here.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me on the show.
Of course. What is your best intro for yourself?
Cool. I like to call myself a filmmaker and entrepreneur. When I'm not making my own documentaries or films or writing, I'm always starting a new business or looking for a cool entrepreneurial avenue.
That's pretty. Do you mind saying how old you are?
I'm 26 years old.
I think that's really awesome that you're pretty ambitious for your age.
Thank you. Yeah, I put all the blame or inspiration, I guess I should say, to my grandparents. They were both small business owners. They gave me the entrepreneurial spirit, and I look to carry that torch forward.
That's really great. So what was their small business?
Yeah, cool. My grandfather on my mom's side owned a number of ice cream stores throughout South Jersey malls, Echelon Mall, Morristown Mall, Ocean One Mall. He had a number of ice cream stores and restaurants. And my other grandfather, for any New Jersey locals, he founded Atco Raceway. So he was working with Atco Raceway for about 20, 30 years.
Wow, that's so awesome that you know your family history like that.
Thank you. Yeah. I love history. I love keeping track of everybody. So, like to carry their spirit forward.
Yeah. So like I mentioned, and like you said, you're from New Jersey and now you're out in California mostly. Can you tell us like how you ended up out there?
Yeah, of course. So I actually lived in I'm based out of San Diego. I lived in San Diego for 6 years before my parents divorced, and I moved back to New Jersey with my mom. That would have been around 2006. So I had 6 years living in San Diego, moved back here. I always wanted to be a filmmaker, so I figured I'd always make my way back to LA, West Coast. And, we were working on a film together. And shortly after that, I got an opportunity to take my video production skills to the cannabis industry. I was recruited to work at a project at High Times Magazine, and I sort of took over as lead video producer there, working on their project to have people buy stock in the company.
Nice. Yeah. So that's why we're going to talk about New Jersey today also, which I think is really fascinating that we have somebody like from the industry.
Yeah, of course. Fully support cannabis legalization. I'm a big cannabis fan, so I figured I wanted to take my video production skills to that industry and bring my storytelling and creative talents there.
Oh, that's so awesome. So, speaking of that, and we're in a pandemic. So, how are you spending your time these days?
I'm very fortunate. I'm able to work from home and remote. I just do a lot of typing, a lot of email sending, just website updating. So it's been really great. I'm very privileged and lucky to be able to work from home. Not too bad. San Diego is beautiful weather. I like to get outside, take a walk down to the beach. Mm-hmm. But staying active is important. Otherwise, I'm kind of a homebody. So that I was kind of excited when they said nobody can leave their apartment or house for 3 months. I was like, great, I'm ready. I'm in my sweatsuit. I'm not going anywhere.
That's awesome. So today we're talking about ballots. How long
Perfect.
Have you been voting?
Yeah, I've been voting since 18 years old. Always, every American should do their civic duty and get out and vote. Always looking to participate. I actually volunteered for a local New Jersey campaign when Senator Chris Brown was running. I'm friends with a local, New Jersey political consultant, and I've been able to volunteer for campaigns and shake hands with a few people. And
that's awesome.
I've been lucky there. Yeah, so always telling people get out and vote. It's important.
Yeah. Oh, this is so fascinating. So you are involved in the local level.
Yeah, I'm lucky to have a great friend. She's really active in politics. She works with a lot of New Jersey senators and congressmen, and she's always keeping me in the loop about what's going on here.
That's great. So then, do you think that being prepared for today was came a bit easier for you?
For sure. I think of myself as a well-rounded person, always happy to chat on a multitude of topics and provide my insight.
How much time do you think you put into prepping for today? Or for the
I
ballot in
I put
general?
in a few hours of work. I researched what we are going to talk about. I've done my own research. I keep up on all the trends.
Did you get your ballot or are you going to the
Yeah, I
polls?
know. I got a mail-in ballot here in New Jersey, so I filled that out and submitted
Oh,
it.
that's awesome. Did you do like a drop-off box or somewhere
Yes, yeah,
else?
I was mailed my ballot, filled it out, sealed it, and went to a drop-off location.
Did you get a sticker?
I did not get a sticker,
Oh
no.
no. Are you upset about that?
I got enough. I got enough stickers here. I'm good. I'm good. One less isn't going to hurt me too much.
Okay. So we're gonna start off talking about California Proposition 17.
Awesome. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a really great bill. Everyone should be voting on.
I let you pick which prop to talk about. Why did you want to talk about this one?
So, yeah, this bill fits perfectly into the whole cannabis legalization movement. To sum it up, what California wants to do is give people who've been arrested and served jail time. Unfortunately, your right to vote is taken away once you're a convicted criminal, whether that was simply stealing a loaf of bread from the supermarket or, up to more violent crime. But I think for low level offenders like that, like an innocent somebody who was just had some cannabis on them or somebody with a minor theft, they're not dangerous. They can be reformed and still be a contributing member of society, and I believe they should be given their American civic duty, right to vote back.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a really good point that it is related to the cannabis industry.
Yeah, it'd be a shame, right? You get arrested for only having a few grams of cannabis on you, and now you can't vote in your country anymore. I think that's pretty messed up.
Yeah. So for our listeners, I want to read the proposition out loud.
Please do.
So, Proposition 17 restores the right to vote after completion of prison term, and it was put on the ballot by the
Mhm.
legislator. And then there's also a summary which says that this proposition would restore voting rights upon completion of prison term to persons who have been disqualified from voting while serving a prison term. The fiscal impact, it says annual county costs likely in the hundreds of thousands of dollars statewide for voter registration and ballot materials, and one-time state costs likely in the hundreds of thousands of dollars for voter registration cards and systems, and you can vote yes or no on this. What do you want to start with, yes or no?
I mean, I would vote yes. Few $100,000 doesn't sound like a lot of money to me for a state or county. They're spending millions on other BS projects. And
Mm-hmm.
again, we're giving the people their civic duty back. It's not. I don't think it's fair that your right to vote is taken away for a low level offense. You've served your time. Barring any severe. You're not a violent criminal. It's nice to be able to participate back in your country.
Yeah, I almost feel like it's more of an incentive too to be back in civilization and kind of like know what's going on around
That
you.
you've experienced the system firsthand now and how they treat people.
Yeah.
Now you can use your right to vote to change that and make it better for people.
Yeah, that's great.
The
So
California
they
prison system is definitely pretty tough.
Yeah, and everything like about the prison systems is really big on a lot of the ballots right now. A
Mhm.
lot of people are talking about recidivism and kind of trying to get to the root problem why non-violent small offenses are taking place and how to lower our population. So I feel like if ex felons can have their voice heard, then it makes sense so that we can cut down on recidivism and just like
Absolutely. Again, a lot of these offenses are low level. Somebody had some cannabis on them, and now they've been arrested. And somebody from a more unfortunate background can't afford a lawyer, so they're not going to get the best deal from the judge, and it sort of sets their life on a downward spiral. So
mm-hmm.
it's nice to be able to again give those rights back, and let's change the system so low level drug offenders are not getting their life ruined.
Right. So the cool thing about the ballots, whenever they present a prop or questions on the ballot, they try to present both arguments. It's super condensed.
Right, yeah, the pros and cons.
Yeah, so you already talked a lot about the pro. I just want to read what they have listed on here as the con. It says vote no on Prop 17 because it amends California's constitution to grant violent criminals the right to vote before completing their sentence, including parole, allows criminals convicted of murder, rape, and child molestation to vote before paying their debt to society, and denies justice to crime victims. What do you think of
I
that
mean, I
argument?
don't think giving anybody the right to vote is like, back is really denying any form of justice. You know, they're still either serving their term, or the karma will give them their just due. So
Right.
again, just having that extra vote is every American's civic duty, whether you're just a normal person or happen to be a violent criminal, you should still, I believe, have your right to vote.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting that they point this out, whoever came up with that argument, because
Right. I mean,
there's,
that's kind of vindictive, right? Like somebody who votes
yes,
no, and that is just like, yep, take their rights away. Like I don't even want to think about them. Just
right.
they messed up. No one's analyzing the circumstances of somebody getting arrested, and they're just being a vindictive person who wants to take rights away from people.
Yeah, I mean, there's no like personality test before you register to vote.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
so you're gonna vote yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've talked to my legal counsel, and he believes voting yes as well.
That's awesome. I don't know. This is like one of those props that seems pretty simple. I think most people are gonna read it and know what their decision is.
Hmm.
But I think it's great that we're discussing it because people should do as much research as they can, even on the simple questions. Because sometimes I think it might be too simple, and it's like, wait, let me do a deep dive.
Right, right.
So I think for this, like, really the only thing I would want to know more about as a citizen is just how much that cost is. But that's just always a
That's a drop in
cost.
the bucket compared to what these state governments are spending on other projects.
Right.
So,
I don't know. It's a weak argument to say no, I think.
right,
But
yeah, yeah. If you're voting no, I think you got some other issues going on that you need to deal with.
yeah, I hear you. Did you want to say any more about this prop before we move on?
Please, anybody in the state of California, I think again, there's a small minority of violent criminals, and there's a much larger group of people who have been arrested and their rights taken away for low-level drug offenses and petty theft that should be given the right to participate in our system.
That's great. I think that's a really awesome jumping off point to go to the New Jersey ballot. So, I have a question actually.
Yeah, of course.
So, how long ago did you move to California this time?
It would be 2 years. I moved there June 2018, so coming up on like 2 to 3 years.
And so you're registered in California?
I'm still registered to vote in New Jersey. I got my mail-in ballot in
Okay.
New Jersey.
Okay.
Yes.
Then I think that's great that you were like, yeah, let's talk about California, even though
Yeah,
you're not
I'm there.
voting on it.
I've got friends in California who vote there, who live there full time. My dad is a full time California resident, so his
Oh,
vote. And hey, he's been somebody who's been arrested for a low level drug offense. He's had his right to
oh
vote taken. He's
wow.
had his right to vote taken away. So
Oh
it'd be
my
nice to
goodness.
grant that back. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, this is a really great topic for people to dive into. There's a lot more information out on the internet about which states already do approve this method. There are states where you can come out and have your right to vote.
Hmm.
So it's interesting to, see what other states are doing. I think that to me is the most fascinating part about this podcast and talking to people from other states because every ballot is so different
Oh
and
yeah,
just the
big
way
time.
states run their state are so different.
Yeah, we're one system, but very much different. Every state has its little cultural niches going on.
For sure. So, talking about the New Jersey question,
Yeah,
this
the
has
big
to
New Jersey
do.
question that we're asking this year.
Yeah. So the question says, do you approve amending the Constitution to legalize a controlled form of marijuana called cannabis? Only adults at least 21 years of age could use cannabis. The Cannabis Regulatory Commission, the state commission created to oversee the state's medical cannabis program, would also oversee the new personal use cannabis market. The scope of the commission's new authority would be detailed in laws enacted by the legislature. Cannabis products would be subject to the state sales tax. If authorized by the legislature, a municipality may pass a local ordinance to charge a local tax on cannabis products.
Right? Everybody wants their cut.
I think they put a lot of information into this question.
Yeah, I hope that's not to confuse voters, but it's good.
Mm.
Everybody gets the full story. You'll have to fact check me on this. I am a little concerned about the bill just because Phil Murphy takes a lot of donations from these New Jersey pharmaceutical companies. So I'd hate to see a system where these pharmaceutical companies are the ones controlling the market in New Jersey, and instead of empowering small business owners and farmers.
Yeah, for sure. There's always research to be done. So I had talked about this with Sarah when we were talking about the New Jersey questions, but
Cool.
since you're involved in that, could you put into layman's terms what is cannabis, what is marijuana, and what is CBD?
Sure, yeah, cannabis, weed, marijuana, ganja, whatever you want to call it, is the plant, the female plant of the hemp plant that grows. People, harvest the buds that grow off of these plants to dry. You dry them out, and you can grind it up, smoke it, or turn it into a byproduct like an edible, a tincture. And every human has an endocannabinoid system. So, as more and more research comes out about cannabis, you see the cannabinoids that interact with your body are beneficial. We're getting a lot of research on the health benefits of cannabis and how that interacts with your system. So, cannabis is made up of different cannabinoids. There's THC, THCA, CBD. So, what CBD is a non-psychoactive. It doesn't like mess up your mindset cannabinoid that we're extracting. Again, the research there is showing the health benefits of CBD for anti-anxiety, depression, as a sleep aid. So the difference between CBD is it's not going to get you high per se, but it's a
Mm-hmm.
beneficial cannabinoid for your body.
So, if this were to be passed and you could just go and buy marijuana, would there be anything different? Like, so CBD is pretty trendy right now, and say if somebody was using CBD now for, say, anxiety, do you think there's anything that should sway them to try marijuana?
For sure. So there's something called the entourage effect, and scientists are believing that's the true benefit when you smoke cannabis. Just isolating CBD and having that in a product may not necessarily give you the full benefits as, say, when you have all the other cannabinoids like THC, THCA in there, mixed with the terpenes from the flower. That's what's activating your body and giving you major health benefits. So somebody
Oh.
who's just on a gas station CBD pen or CBD tincture that they got, there's much more benefits to getting a higher quality product with a little bit of
Mm.
THC in there.
And then, do you have any ideas? So, would marijuana, like a controlled form of marijuana, cannabis, do you think they would put it in like 7-Eleven and like your like gas station
So
stops?
New Jersey again is one of those states that really controls the alcohol industry, right? You go to California and the 7-Eleven is selling cases of beer and alcohol.
Yeah.
In New Jersey, there's only, the alcohol stores that you're allowed to go to, and they're subject to certain state restrictions. And that's probably how New Jersey would do it. They've created this board to oversee anybody who's participating here, and they're going to designate different dispensaries for certain towns and whatnot.
Okay. Yeah, that would make
And
sense.
I hope it's going to come down to a township level. I believe, we're going to get, there's definitely some right leaning towns who are going to be like, we do not want a dispensary here. And there's going to
Yeah.
be the cool people who are like, yeah, bring your business here.
Yeah.
Atlantic City would majorly benefit if they had an epic cannabis outlet there. Like let's give the people what they want.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I think that if people go into this with a business mindset, it's really going to take off.
Absolutely. Again, my concern is the pharmaceutical industry that Governor Phil Murphy is friends with. I would love to empower New Jersey farmers. We are the Garden State, so
Mm-hmm.
let's empower our farmers to be able to make some extra money, be able to grow hemp and cannabis, and make sure that that system is transparent.
Yeah, do you have any other thoughts on hemp?
Hemp is great. Hemp, you are going to see a lot of exciting things with hemp over the next decade. There's hempcrete. It's fireproof, anti-bug, resistant material. I'd love to see some more manufacturing being made with hempcrete, and as well as hemp clothing, hemp paper. Hemp should definitely be making a comeback.
Yeah, and that is the THC levels are so low that you wouldn't
Absolutely,
smoke
yes.
that.
Yeah, no. Yeah, you wouldn't get anything off of that. That product is all ground up with the plant and manufactured into the hempcrete or hemp rope or clothing, whatever you want to use the fiber for.
That's really interesting. Do you have any other thoughts on question one?
I want everyone to do their research. I want to see exactly what this cannabis board is doing with the medical industry here in New Jersey. I've read some news stories. Again, fact check me on this, where another dispensary was trying to open up in town, and the dispensary that was already there, like threw a fit, is trying to sue them. There's unfortunately some heavy anti-competition going on with current medical dispensary owners and anybody new that wants to
Oh,
come in. Yeah,
oh,
New Jersey's a tough
wow.
place. They don't like if you try to move in on their money, and so a lot of the current guys are definitely getting angry. They felt like they had to,
Sometimes Jersey proud can be in a negative way. We're
yeah,
a little
for
too
sure, for
proud.
sure.
One of the only arguments for the no was that really just like the psycho, what do you call it? What did you say the effects are?
Psychoactive.
Psychoactives. And so they were like, oh, there might be traffic issues if people are on
I
cannabis.
wouldn't say any different than currently the people who are drinking and driving around here, and I've definitely seen a lot of it. So, again, the studies are out there. You cannot die from a cannabis overdose. You physically could not smoke enough cannabis to kill yourself, and there's no repercussions to this being out there.
Do you know much about Colorado and how their business
Yeah,
is?
the Colorado market is definitely a lot different than California. California really focused a lot on the branding. In California, you go to a dispensary, you're going to see a lot of shiny boxes, a lot of cool jars. They really focused on the product development end. And the Colorado market, I'd say, is more of a farmer's market. The dispensaries there, they have all the buds in a jar. You can come up, smell it. It's treated more as a fruit or agricultural product
Oh,
than a
wow.
controlled substance.
Right. So you wouldn't, yeah, this law isn't talking about smelling the buds.
Right. So that's the issue with Cal. You're going to see increased prices because now the growers have to go through all these extra steps. Okay, we need child-proof packaging. We need a cool-looking
Oh.
brand on it. We need to be a cool brand and collect the eyeballs at the dispensary. Where Colorado is just more like, hey, the bud is here. Smell your fruit. Like
Mm-hmm.
test it out, see how sparkly it is, and take home what you want.
So, I'm not like an avid smoker, and I'd gone out to Colorado once before
Hmm.
with friends who were more interested in that, and I really had no idea like what to ask for. Like, I have really aching knees, and so all I got was like a lotion.
Cool.
But if this was to be legalized in New Jersey, what kind of advice do you have if somebody wants to try this out for the first time?
Yeah, education is going to be very important. There are a ton of articles on the web from people like High Times, Mary Jane, the Weed Blog. There's tons of cannabis publications who have already dove into all the benefits of products you're looking for. I would tell a consumer, do your research. Again, identify what pain points you're trying to solve, whether that's an achy knee or you're depressed or feel anxious all the time or have an appetite issue. You'll want to do the
Mm-hmm.
research yourself and find out what you need.
Where do I start? Like, what do I type? Or can I go to like High Times and like they'll have
Yeah, you could
resources?
Google is a great resource. Just Google what you're looking for, and the people like High Times and Mary Jane and all the experts will come flooding into your web.
That's exciting. So that was the other like curiosity. I was like, well, if this is legal in New Jersey, like that would be the
Mhm.
closest place that I would be curious to go. And so, but that was my question is like, if I'm from Pennsylvania and I'm going to New Jersey, do you think it's like when you buy fireworks and they're like, well, we'll sell it to
So no,
you?
a rec market, a recreational market should have no problem with that. You can fly to California and walk into a dispensary and buy whatever you want. The same should apply to New Jersey.
Right. Oh, yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah, the only issue, unfortunately, New Jersey is one of the only states that does not accept an outside medical card. So say I got my medical
Mm,
marijuana card in California, New Jersey will not accept that as proof I can buy from a
okay.
medical dispensary.
But do you think so? The product is going to be more like you're going to have more product in a medical dispensary, right?
That's not necessarily true. No, the medical market is a little
Oh,
more restrictive, I'd say, harder to get brands in there. The rec market is much more open and loose.
oh, oh my gosh. Yeah, I
I
gotta.
was surprised driving out of Philadelphia when I flew in. There was a giant billboard for the cannabis dispensary. Philadelphia, it seems, has quickly capitalized on the medical industry. I've noticed a lot
Yeah,
of dispensaries opening there. That's great
yeah.
to see.
Even now, I think it was maybe like 3 months ago that they figured out how to handle it during the pandemic. So I thought
Mhm.
that was because, especially now, like people need their
Yeah,
medical marijuana.
I'd like to give a shout out to a Philadelphia friend of mine. His name is the Jewish Sauce Boss. He's really out there educating people in the Philadelphia region about cannabis and CBD and helping people get their medical marijuana license.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, can we get like a link or something we'll put in the episode description?
Yeah, you could check out his
Okay.
Instagram, Jewish Sauce Boss.
Awesome. Yeah. Oh, this has been so great.
Yeah, please. Just another quick thing I want to touch on as well. You know, the psychedelic movement is gaining steam as well in Oregon. Voters are going to be able to vote to legalize using psilocybin mushrooms as as prescribed by a therapist
Oh,
to
wow.
help with therapy there. And again, I just want to advocate that people do their research about psychedelic mushrooms and LSD and MDMA and check out the therapeutic benefits that are coming from them.
Wow. That blows my
Yeah, I know. You
mind.
if you told your grandpa that LSD is helping people, he you wouldn't know what to think.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I
we've come a
think,
very long way.
yeah, I think too many of us are naive to what any drugs really do. And we just accept pharmaceutical drugs because a doctor writes a note without looking at really what it is.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, that blows my mind. Cool. So, do you think we're done with like the ballot section?
Do you have any other questions for me? Again, I'd like everyone to do their research, get out and vote. I'll be honest, I'm not going to say vote yes or no to this NJ legalization ballot. My
Mm-hmm.
concern is being able to empower the farmers and small business owners and not the pharmaceutical industry. So
Yeah.
I hope this bill does right by that. We'll see what shakes up.
I think that's a really great point to make. We just have to be educated and follow it. Which, yeah, that reminds me. So, like, once the election is over, I would love to check back in with you and talk about the
Perfect.
results.
Awesome.
Yay! Because I think it's going to be easier if we like are constantly educating ourselves rather than trying
Yes,
to like catch
absolutely.
up. And I mean, you're so educated for being your age. I think there's too many people in their 20s who have no idea. People of all ages have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. Well, some say ignorance is bliss, but you should always be expanding your mind, checking out what's out there and making informed decisions.
I think that's a great segue to ask you how you're being neighborly these days.
Awesome. Yeah, always try to help out my neighbors. I live in an apartment building. I've gotten to know the people on my floor, and we're always helping each other out, whether just talking and keeping people informed about what's going on, or just hanging out and saying hello. I think a lot of people are depressed right now. It's nice to get that face to face interaction back.
So, do people like live who are in your building? Like, it's not just people that you work with?
No, yeah, I live in Cardiff, California. A lot of building is made up of different people, young families, just like next door it's three 20 something dudes all living together who go surf every day. So
Do they
very
know
very mixed
you?
crowd.
Do they know you in your building as like the weed guys?
Oh no, no, not yet. I'd probably be making a lot more cash if they did. But no,
That's
keep
cool.
that on the down low.
Yeah. So I know nothing about weed. Do you have like a favorite, I don't know, kind or
Product.
something? Sure.
Again, it takes person by person basis. I like the vape pens. I like to, grind up the flour and put that into a bong if I'm looking to relax. My grandma's been getting into a lot of the cannabis and CBD. She had a stroke a
Mm-hmm.
few years ago. She's not too mobile anymore, but she
Okay.
finds the CBD really helping her. She's got lotions that she rubs on our aching joints and takes a CBD tincture at night to fall asleep easier.
How
So
did
again,
she how did she first get into that? Like after her stroke, like did her doctor talk to her or
no,
you
that
talk
was
to
me
her?
saying you should be, you're getting up there in age. You might as well get on the cannabis train. There's trying to educate
Yeah.
and be like, this is going to be beneficial to you.
Was she skeptical at first?
Yeah, typical. I think a lot of typical grandmas out there are gonna say like weed's illegal, pot makes you
Yeah.
dumb. You're gonna like smoke and be lazy and not want to do anything, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. Unfortunately, that's the
Yeah.
propaganda that a lot of people have been fed, and they're sticking to that.
That's awesome. I think that there should be more, we should get our eyes on like all the grandmas who are pro
Yeah,
cannabis.
hey, an argument people try to say is a dispensary is going to bring like, a lower class type of people to the area. But you look at the research, it's the 50-year-olds and 60-year-olds that are lining up at the dispensary every day to get their bud. So,
That is
it
so
is the
awesome.
boomers are ready.
Ah! Well, I think this has been fun.
Always a good time with you, Jess.
Thank you so much, Kyle. Listeners, if you want to share what you think means to be neighborly, or because nobody's been sending that in, so if you're into cannabis or CBD, tell me what your favorite products are, and I'll share it on the Instagram. This just THISJES. Please share this podcast with your friends all over the country so they can learn about the positions, history lessons, current happenings, and maybe even be inspired to start their own informative podcast. This has been your friend Jess. Kyle, thank you so much for talking about California Prop 17 as well as the New Jersey question. Will you lead us out?
Of course, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Any cannabis questions, please check out my website, neonjoint.com, or reach out to me over Instagram at my cannabis account, Good Kyle Smokes.
And we'll have all those in the episode description. Fellow citizens, I'll see you around the neighborhood.
Peace out, y'all.